With the NFL honors, there's the announcement of the Hall of Fame class, but there's also all the awards that are handed out for the players this season. The most important award is the Walter Payton Man of the Year, and that went to one Bobby Wagner of the Washington Commanders. Walter Payton Man of the Year is special because it shows Walter Payton was a phenomenal person. That's why the award is named after him, but it shows dedication to the community and giving back to people that may not have it as good as the players in the NFL or the rest of us. So this means a lot to everyone who wins it, and it's an elite group of people. After that, we go to MVP. One Matthew Stafford of the Rams won MVP. This was the closest MVP race since Peyton Manning and Steve McNair shared the award in 2003. Stafford won by 5 votes, winning 24 first place votes to Drake May's 23. Honestly, I thought that Drake May should have won the MVP. How because of what he was doing with a lesser roster, when you look at his numbers this season, his completion percentage was 72%. He threw for 4,394 yards and 31 touchdowns. The roster around it is not great. He's throwing to Stephon Diggs and Kayshon Boutte, which isn't exactly a stacked receiver room. He did more with less. I'll talk about this more when I do a Super Bowl preview a bit later in the show. I think that Drake May should have won. However, when you look at Stafford's number, he threw for more yards, had more touchdowns. His completion percentage was a bit lower. He only had a 65% completion percentage, but he threw for 4,707 yards and 46 touchdowns. But I will say, it helps when you are throwing to Puka Nakua, who had an absolute insane season with the Rams. He finished second in receiving yards. He had 1,715 receiving yards. So it definitely helps when you're throwing to a receiver like that. And you also have Devontae Adams on the other side. So he definitely had a lot more to work with. He also had Sean McVay, who is an absolute genius when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. Overall, I'm not complaining about either candidate, but I think that May should have won it over Stafford. And then we're going to continue talking about Puka Nakua a bit with the Offensive Player of the Year award. That went to Seattle's Jackson Smith and Jigba. He'll be playing in the Super Bowl this weekend. I'll talk about him a bit there as well. But Jackson Smith and Jigba had an absolutely insane season for the Seahawks. On the season, he had 1,793 yards and 10 touchdowns, 119 receptions as well. That is absolutely insane. An insane stat. He's been making spectacular catches. He made a one-handed catch against the Rams in the NFC Championship. He just snagged it. It looked so smooth, so clean. I absolutely loved watching that. And like I said, Puka Nakua came second in Offensive Player of the Year voting. He was second in receiving yards. He tied for touchdowns, and he had more receptions, but they just favored the receiving yards and probably also the team success as well. Jackson Smith and Jigba is an interesting story because his senior year or his sophomore year at Ohio State, he had a breakout game in the Rose Bowl, an insane stat line against the Utah Utes. I believe he had 4 touchdowns in that Rose Bowl game. He had 347 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. He averaged 23 yards per reception. So when you look at all that, he was poised to have a breakout junior year, but he was limited. I believe he only played 3 games because of a hamstring injury. So not everybody was sure exactly what he would turn out to be as a pro, but he has been living up to it, absolutely making insane plays in his second or second or third season in the NFL. So props to him. Third season in the NFL. My apologies for that, but he is an incredible player. And then we go to defensive side of the ball. There was no question about who was going to win it. In fact, it was unanimous for the second time since JJ Watt won it unanimously in 2014, and that is the freak of nature that lives in Cleveland, Ohio, Myles Garrett. He is Defensive Player of the Year, and there was no debate whether or not he was going to win it. He set the sack record this season. He's a 5-time All Pro player. He had 23 sacks on the season, which is an absolute insane number. A couple games this season, he had, let's see, he had 4 sacks in one game against the Ravens, 5 sacks against New England. So those right there, 4 sacks in a game, 5 sacks in a game. It's absolutely insane what he's done the entire season. And then we go Offensive Rookie of the Year. This was kind of a shoe-in. It went to Teteroa McMillan. He has done miracles for Bryce Young and the Panthers. He's a beautiful jump ball receiver. I like him a lot for them and what he brings and means for the Panthers. On the season, he had 1,014 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns, a good jump ball receiver, and he's going to be the future in Carolina when you consider everything that happens there, whether or not they keep Bryce Young and what that situation is. After that, we go back to Cleveland with the Defensive Rookie of the Year. That is one Carson Schlesinger. I planted my flag early in Carson Schlesinger. There are clips of me in my Sports Talk Live talking about Carson Schlesinger winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. He put up some great numbers this season as a rookie. He had 67 solo tackles, 2.5 sacks. He was making great plays all season, and I really like his play. He's a 3-down backer, and that Cleveland defense, I don't know how they do it, but they bring in great players all the time, consistently, no matter what. And then the final award went to Coach of the Year, and that is none other than Mike Vrabel. Honestly, it was going to be Mike Vrabel or Mike McDonald. I like the Vrabel pick because, as I mentioned with May, he was able to do a lot with a lot less. And the Patriots weren't even close to sniffing the playoffs last year. So he completely turned around the roster. They revamped it with free agent signings and the draft. And he's done a great job. I really like him as a coach. And this is a deserved award for him.